Hey everybody, we're just gonna wait for Dylan to jump in and then we'll get started. Hey, for those who are joining, I'm still waiting on Dylan to dial in. Hopefully he is aware of this meeting. I know he's dialing in from London, so maybe this one is lost in the ether for him, but I just reached out, so we'll hang on for a bit longer.
Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry to keep you all waiting.
Hey, I was worried that maybe we lost you to
Hey
the
everyone, I don't know if anyone can hear me. Um,
I can hear you.
Classic audio issues. Okay, you guys can hear me. I cannot hear you, Brian. Give me 2 seconds
All right.
as I figure this one out. Um, it's funny, like we have the most amazing technology in the world, and microphones seem to be the barrier. Hello, can you hear me now? Or can
I
I
can
hear
hear.
you?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? All right, good. Sweet.
awesome. All right. Hi everyone, how's it going? All right. I'm just having a look on the call. Who have we got on here? I'm wondering if there's anyone I recognize. No one I'm familiar with, which is exciting. Brian, do you want me to do a bit of an intro to Counsel, or how do you want to run this?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you're probably best to do the intro. I guess it should be said. There's a few users inside Hey Counsel that you all work with, and obviously, the people we put in front of our community for demos like this are those who are running products that seem to be gaining a little bit of traction within our community. So that's like the context that comes with all of these. And with that said, I'll pass. I've had a lot of good conversations with Dylan. I think he's a smart guy building some cool software. So and even though he's in London, he's got a big American flag behind him. So so we like that. Cool. All right.
All
And
right, cool. I'll take it away. And I
all
think
right.
I think Dwayne might be having some audio issues. Hi everyone, great to meet you. Some background on us. We work with a number of the Hay Counsel community, attorneys like Kyle Westaway and Chris Harvey and the team at Virtual Counsel, and a couple more who are actually onboarding right now. Quite a few people across the community. And Brian, you've always been fantastic. Watching this community grow has been really, really awesome, and it really seems like it's taking off. So we love connecting with the attorneys you brought together. I don't think it's a coincidence that we have so many people from this community engaging with us. It's like a great forum of forward-thinking attorneys who are sort of looking over the horizon. Um, all right, let me dive into it. What are we building? We Counsel is an autonomous project management system on one hand. On the other hand, it is also an agentic AI system that can use all of the context within your law firm to do things for you. So I'm going to start. I know you guys will have seen a billion different AI agents that do this and that, and Word plugins and Outlook plugins and chat interfaces that look uncannily like ChatGPT or Claude. So I'm going to try and explain to you, what we've done that is different and powerful. Sorry, I think I got a little feedback there. What we've done that is different and powerful, and how it might be helpful to your practice. So let me just go straight into a demo. And I think, Brian, I might need you to turn on sharing.
Yep,
Oh, there we go.
gotcha.
Beautiful. Awesome. Okay. So let me just clean up my screen and move some of these little windows off out of the way. And if at any time, by the way, guys, if you want to stop me and firing questions, then please feel free. But let me give you the high level. So we read every email that goes in and out of your law firm. If you use Teams or Slack, we also integrate with that as well. So we integrate into Outlook, Gmail, Teams, Slack, and we understand everything that is happening. So we see which which projects are you working on for which clients. So think of us at a very, very, to really simplify this down, think of us like Monday or Asana. Think of us as like a project management tool, except one that doesn't need you to maintain it. It runs autonomously. A common pain point, and I'm sure many of you have tried, I'm sure many of you think a lot about like, how do we make our firm really efficient? How do we organize our information? How do we stay on top of stuff? Especially as you grow your firm and your clients and your attorneys, becomes a bigger and bigger challenge. I'm sure many of you have tried Asana or Monday. The problem you will find, if you aren't already experiencing it, is that it becomes challenging to ask people to maintain this system of record. It becomes a tax on all the work they're doing to change statuses and create new projects and add new clients, and update it every time something happens. No one's realistically going to do that. And so these project management tools tend to fall over quite quickly. So one thing I want to impart on you today is you've probably seen a million tools that focus on the substance of law. We're very much focused on the practice of law. Have I got that the right way around? I think I have. So I'm going to dive into one of these projects just to show you what I mean. We're reading every single email. These are emails you can see that I've been trading with GCP. GCP is Google Cloud Partners. They're one of the service providers we use. But imagine this is you trading emails with your clients, your team trading emails with your clients. Counsel is reading every single piece of communication here, and it knows exactly what is going on. Like it sees me, requesting a meeting and telling them that we're scaling and like, blah, 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 blah. It sees all of this. So if I come back from a holiday, let's say, and I just want to know, like at a high level, what is going on? Or if I'm a partner and I'm trying to, I'm just hopping into a project that this associate is covering, like what is going on? I can see all of that very, very intuitively in this like collapsed timeline view. Now, the thing that's really cool here is that context might live in teams. It might live in 5 different email threads with different participants on each one because your clients don't know how to use email properly. And Counsel will see all of this and organize it for you. So it's not just, we're looking at one email thread and we're summarizing everything. It is, we are looking at everything coming into your firm and we are organizing it for you in real time. And that is what these projects are. So this is a timeline of everything that's going on. This is an executive summary of what is the latest. So if you come in and you want to know like what is going on right now at a high level, you get to see that right here. Now, in the top right, we also have an alert here, actually, which is really funny. The alert system we've built basically goes a step further. We're going, okay, cool. We have this like 30,000-foot view of everything that's happening in your firm. Awesome. You don't have to do any work. That self-maintains. But also, we're going to flag to you when you've made a promise to a client, or your associate has made a promise to you, or there's a major deadline that you alerted your client about that, like that 83B filing, they haven't done it yet. We're going to alert those things to you because we're reading absolutely everything that's happening. And so counsel's also flagging to me that there's something important that I should be aware of. Um, all of this is completely autonomous, and it helps attorneys do a couple of things. What is going on? Am I missing anything? Just like keeping my brain clear because I can't possibly remember every single detail of every single thing that I'm working on. Now, I'm going to pause here because this is the first sort of half of our product, in case anyone has any questions.
Yeah, and if you're not on mute, I feel like I'm hearing a little bit of feedback from another mic. Please jump on mute. Awesome. Um, yeah, any questions from the crowd? All right.
All right, I think we're good. And Brian, could I ask you for a favor? I think there's a member of your community called Chun Wright. Would you mind sending her a link to this meeting? If that's possible.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Um, so why is all of this okay? Hopefully you guys are all like, wow, this is really cool. This could be really helpful. Let me show you now why if you are spending money on tools like Word plugins or Outlook plugins or Turbo ChatGPT for lawyers, why you might want to reconsider that. Because we have all of this context, we can now do really, really powerful stuff. Um, so I'm going to show you some of those things, but I'll also just take a moment to talk through some of the stuff that I won't have time to show you. So as an example of something that partners at Chris Harvey is a great example of this. I'm sure he won't mind me saying he loves this feature, but Counsel, because it sees every one of his emails, also knows how he writes. It knows how he has advised clients in various situations. And so for Chris, one of the things he loves most is that Counsel will draft emails for him in Gmail proactively in his tone of voice based on how he's advised clients in given situations. So when he wakes up in the morning, one of the first things he will do is he will open up Gmail and he will see Counsel has proactively created responses to client requests that have come in overnight. And this happens throughout the day, of course. But what it means is that for Chris, his job has slightly changed. It's no longer just about editing documents, drafting email responses. In fact, before you do those things, like what is the state of play? Like what am I actually responding to? It's now a lot more surgical and tactical. It's a lot more like, is this actually, the right advice for this situation? Like he's really using, his expert judgment and not having to do as much of the grind work, I'd say. Now I'm going to show you what this looks like in practice with a real example. I'm actually going to do this. I might as well do this. I have some legal work I need to do. So why is all of this useful? Imagine, you're working on an M&A transaction, 20 different email threads, lots of versions of documents. All of this is just context for us. If you were to use ChatGPT, you would have to explain to it, here's the nuance of all of the stuff that's going on. And you're not going to sit there and write 5 email threads worth of explanation to ChatGPT or load in the whole negotiation history and give it examples of how you've redlined documents in the past. That's unrealistic. All of that is accessible to Counsel here. So what I'm going to do is some really basic stuff just to get us warmed up, and then I'll get deeper and deeper with it. What is going on with GCP? Can you give me a full timeline? What is outstanding? What do we need to do? What do they need to do? Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm a bit surprised with this. So Counsel's going really deep here. This is a great example. In this project, I think there were only a handful of emails. But because Counsel's been listening to my inbox for months now, it's actually found other projects where we've been talking to GCP. And this timeline is, this is really funny. This timeline is not just, I thought it would just be like the last week. This timeline is like the history of us chasing GCP being like, we need more bandwidth, which is really funny. So it goes back to October. But yeah, so cool. Council has all this context. That's wonderful. Awesome. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to dump in our privacy policy from our website. Um, Hopefully you guys can see that I'm just sort of zipping around our website. So I'm going to use this as an opportunity to do some actual work here. Okay, cool. Can you check our privacy policy below and tell me if there are any issues? Because I don't know if we've said anything about GCP in there. So I've just dropped in our privacy policy. This is really basic, but we're going to do some more heavyweight stuff in a second. Okay, so we need to add GCP to our sub-processors list before we start using it. Kill. Okay, lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay. Um, uh, okay, awesome. Could you take our privacy policy? Could you put it in a Word document? Could you add in stuff about GCP? And I'm going to give you our MSA in a second. Could you also review our MSA and see if there's anything in our MSA that we'd like to have applied to our terms of service as well? Just to there we go. Do, do, do. Um, this is an execution MSA, and it contains details I would prefer for you not to put on screen. So because I'm demoing this live to a large number of users, can you be careful about what you display on here?
Nice.
Yeah, I know, classic. I'm telling you, I'm doing real legal work right now. Um, cool. So I've asked Counsel to do a bunch of things, but what I want to show you now is hopefully Counsel will do two things. It will conduct research if it needs to, but it will also hopefully create a new document and review our MSA and start doing some redlining. Now, I'm sure many of you will have seen, what was it, Claude? Was it Claude? Not Claude Code, sorry. Claude's word plugin.
Yeah,
And the amount of noise that generated. We think it's really cool. We think that like everyone building, I'm sure many of you have tried playing around with, vibe coding, building your own tools. I think it's awesome. We see the most valuable part of Counsel as the context layer, all this knowledge that we're organizing, the kind of thing that is really, really complicated to engineer. And we see the applications, Word, editing documents as relatively straightforward. But we see the combination of both as really, really powerful. So hold on, let's see. So Counsel's doing some very deep thinking here, but let's see. It seems to be. I need to read the file. Oh, that's really funny. I think it actually got confused for a second there because it's creating a new document from scratch. And I think it was looking at a blank document that it had just inserted in and was like, why is this document blank? Now I'm going to leave this to brew because this is taking a moment. But let's do something fun. Let me just put our MSA in there. Could you review this MSA, specifically the DPA part of it, and flag if there are any issues? Also, could you look at the insurance provisions that we have and check if they're market? If they're not, can you add a comment explaining, in the note to drafter style, explaining what the issues are, and then redline with whatever changes you think are relevant? Oh, and once you're done with that, can you bang all of this into an email for me to dylan@getcounsel.co, explaining why we think there are changes that should be made to this MSA?
Dylan, as I'm like kind of watching you go through all of this stuff, I'm for those who've played around with like Claude Cowork or something like this that has this sort of agentic powers as well. What are some of the differentiators from you and them and sort of like both in the way that you've designed the interface and obviously it's connected to email and all that stuff. But like the panel on the left obviously catches my eye because I'm thinking like, how is this like specifically designed for law firms versus a generalized tool like Claude Cowork?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd say that first off, I think like the stuff Anthropic's doing is really, really cool. They're doing really cool stuff. I think they're going to keep getting better and better. Um, but I think they're very general purpose. And I'm sure some of you, well, I'm sure Brian, have you played around with the word plugin? Like, what did you think of it? If
I'm
you have.
not, I use a specific word plugin, Spellbook,
Mm,
and I think it's great. I really like it. Everyone's got their preferences
mm,
on which tools they like. It's just the first one I picked up and I kind of stuck with it. I, I wouldn't use the Claude one because it's just very basic and I've already fine-tuned my workflow for using the Spellbook one. Um, but I'm just, I'm playing around with Cowork all the time and I'm just blown away by, the ability to connect it to things, do multiple types of like workflows all at once,
mm,
schedule events, things that I mean they're just yeah, they're adding tons of features and it's getting really cool. So
yeah.
I'm with you. I think what they're doing is really cool and so I'm trying to I know it's like hard to keep up with that stuff as a product builder, but I'm just like, what is your like North Star as you're continuing to
Yeah.
build? Is it just trying to stay,
Yeah.
legally relevant with Claude Cowork, or or is there like a specific sort of like North Star that you're going towards that they're not?
Yeah. So there's I can get really really deep on this, but I'll try and stay high level so that I don't bore everyone with the technical. In fact, I'll try and stay at the like what how does what we're doing stay different and better than what everyone else is doing, including Anthropic and Claude. So it actually starts at the very foundational layer of like what I'm going to just step out of documents to answer your question for a sec. It starts at this very foundational layer of what is a project. So if you go to Claude, I'm sure they have like a Gmail integration, right? So you connect your Gmail in, and you go to Claude and you're like, hey Claude, like what's the latest with GCP? Claude would come back and it would probably find like quite a good, especially if it's a recent conversation, probably find like a decent coverage of stuff that has happened with GCP, but it will not be everything. And it will not have a full appreciation if you've been, let's say it's a client of yours and you've been working with them for months and months and months, or this deal has loads and loads of emails and loads of threads because of the way it searches. So what Claude and others do is called a RAG search, where I'm not going to go into the details of this. I'm sure many of you know what RAG is. What they do is kind of like a human paralegal going into a room full of papers, where every paper, think of it as an email, right? And it's just a long, long stacks and stacks of paper ordered by time. And you tell the paralegal, like, hey, go find everything you can to do with this M&A deal. And they go in and they're like looking at random bits of paper, and they'll find stuff, and they'll find like a bunch of stuff that is useful, a bunch of stuff that's not useful, and they'll come back and they'll go, here's what I found. And then you look at this and you're like, well, of the 50 things you've given me, like 30 of these are really useful, and the other 20 I'm just going to ignore. And then you try and construct an answer, and you go, well, based on the 30 things I found, like, here's the answer to your question. Whereas what we do is we read every single piece of paper as it goes into the room, and then we file and folder it and put it in the right cabinet, so that when you send this person in, you go, hey, go to this file, go to this folder, it's inside this cabinet, and come back and bring me back that one. And you'll also find some other files that are useful, not quite what the user asked for, but like pretty relevant. Bring me those files too. Um, and so what it means, I'll give you some examples of like what partners at pretty large law firms are now saying. It's, I'm drafting a piece of language. They'll come into counsel. They'll go, hey, draft me some language for this type of document. And counsel will be able to infer based on what they're asking. Um, oh, it seems like you're working, you're probably working on this project that I know is on your plate. Would you like me to draft around that? They go, yes, cool. And then it goes, and this is like a real world example from last week. And then it will go, or then it went. I don't know if it will always do this. Then it went, would you like me to apply the red lines directly into that document? And they did. And then they went like, can you put this in an email for me? And it understands all of this, and it's able to use, the way that this attorney had drafted for similar documents for different clients. And so that like filing cabinet metaphor is the core difference between ours and Anthropic. And the reason Anthropic will never do it is because it's incredibly, incredibly expensive. It's also just a totally different design philosophy. If Anthropic wanted to do that, it would be like we are committing to build something for law firms, knowing that this is really complicated and we can't sell this to Allen and Overy and Jones Day. Like, this is so complicated. We have to begin with all the small law firms, and take a massive punt that if we just keep trying to build this thing and make it really good, eventually we can sell it to big law firms. I don't think they're ever going to do that. That's what we're doing.
Chris,
But it means
Chris,
that like yeah.
sorry, sorry to interrupt. It's kind of a relevant question, just in terms of the search and retrieval part. Chris
Yeah.
asked in the chat, if I have 4 legal projects pending with one client, is counsel able to segregate information by specific legal project rather than by client?
Yes. Yeah, it is. So counsel has a sense of, what different projects are. So, let's say you're doing an M&A deal, you're doing some IP work, you're doing employment work. Counsel will determine that these are different streams. Yeah.
Is it
So,
like it will, most of the time, or is there a certain path that it gets it right every time? Because I think like, if I understand Chris's practice correctly, like it's a lot of the same type of work, maybe,
mm,
for or a lot of lawyers have a niche practice where they're doing similar types of work, and maybe multiple times for one client. So maybe it's a little it's a little harder, right, to pull the
what type of practice area is Chris in? Or Chris, I don't know if you're able to hop on the
Yeah,
microphone
sure.
for a sec.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
M&A primarily.
Oh, okay, great. So in your when you talk about projects, do you mean like different work streams within an M&A deal, like, the drafting the SPA or, that sort of thing? Or are you like, I'm doing multiple M&A deals for the same client?
Yeah, the latter. So I may have, a sponsor. I'm doing 4
Okay.
different acquisitions at the same time,
Yeah.
and then to further complicate things, sometimes you'll get an email from the client that talks about 3 of the 4 deals that are pending.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So with this, I think what would happen is counsel, and so we've not worked with any M&A lawyers yet. So I don't know exactly. But what I think, oh sorry, we haven't worked with anyone who works with sponsors yet. So this like, lots of emails from the same people about very similar things. Um, Here's what I expect would happen. Um, I would expect that counsel has a very good understanding of, oh, there are 4 different deals. This is a private equity firm. This is the nature of how they do stuff. Um, Chris works across multiple of their deals. And I think it would do a very good job of splitting those 4 projects out. But I'm actually going to just check on something with our team. Guys, here's a question for you. So I'm talking to an attorney who works in M&A. Sometimes his clients will say in a single email, they'll talk about 4 projects that they're working on for this client. Do we pipe the same email into 4 places in those instances?
No, we can split. We can just single split.
Okay.
So we can fork.
Yeah.
Imagine you project it on.
Okay, cool. So this is something we might have to build in your specific instance. But generally, this hasn't been a huge problem. But there is a way to split out emails in Counsel if that does happen. And so, Brian, this also touches a little on Brian, your question, like, are we perfect? The honest answer is no. We're very, very good. But our problem in the past has been that we create too many projects, not that we create too few. So we've actually had to dial it back a little bit because we might sometimes create too many projects for too many work streams. We've gotten that balance a lot better now, but we have a way for you to actually tidy these things up. If things seem like they're going in the wrong place, it's very, very easy to fix. But I'll leave that for those who want to get into like the implementation details. All right, cool. I think we got there in the end. And Counsel's drafted this email. It has reviewed my MSA, which let me just hop in here very quickly and see, did it make any changes? Oh, it did. Awesome. So it had some opinions on our insurance provisions, and it's added in the comments like I asked it to, and it's redlined it. Now I could have gone way, way further with this, right? I could have asked it to, here's a good example. It's made some tweaks. I could have asked it to go way further and, pull language from other documents, conduct research, and, make a broad range of changes. But maybe to give you guys a sense of what we're seeing, and maybe this is true with other tools as well. Our users, our attorneys, are not editing documents in the way they used to before, and they're not having to maintain in their memory, in their physical brain, all the details of everything that they're working on, because Counsel retains all of that for them, and they can check it. And then it's faster for them to use Counsel very much as like a thinking partner or like a force multiplier of, hey, like, I'm going to tell you where to find the files I want you to work with. I'm going to tell you what edits to make, and I'm going to review the research and the opinions you give me. But you're going to go and implement all of this. And so, one anecdotal thing we've been learning is that we're not necessarily making lawyers faster. They're still spending the same roughly amount of time as they were before. But what we are doing is we're making them execute at a way higher level. And we're also allowing them to execute without as much mental load on them the whole time. So I think they're generally enjoying practicing within their firms a bit more as well. I'm going to pause here because I'm conscious we have about 10 minutes left in case there are any more questions.
I have two really quick questions. So I think you mentioned something around the idea of like sort of like a recurring task. Can you set those up? Did I miss that? Like sort of like a cron job that runs maybe on a yeah.
So we haven't created like a cron job type feature. But when you say a recurring task, do you mean like someone emails you and then Counsel reacts in a certain way?
Sort of just like on a timed schedule. Once a week, create a list of, all the events and create a summary of create a summary of what's progressed in my matters. I don't know, like a spreadsheet. I can see a million things. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't done that yet. Someone messaged an associate messaged me about this similar idea yesterday. He's going on holiday. He was like, could you build something so that by the time I get back from holiday, I can ask Counsel what has changed in all of these things? Right now, you can kind of do that. It's not on a timer. Building it on a timer is actually very easy. But right now, what you could do is you could come to Counsel and you could go, what has changed on these 5 things, if you want to be specific, and it will tell you. You could go, what has changed across all of my work, and it will do a very good job, but it won't necessarily know what is most important to you. Because it can't read your mind.
No, it makes sense. I think Cowork has that functionality of just like scheduled tasks. So I was wondering if that was something maybe you had built or roadmap. But one other question is like, like kind of like the idea of skills, having like either repeatable things that you could hard code or whatever into your platform so that like you can ask the same question multiple times or run the same workflow multiple times. Is that something that you all do or help with?
Yeah, so we have these sorry, let me share my screen quickly.
And then Rob, I see your hand raised, so you can jump in next.
All right. So we recently built this actually, this little prompts tab. I think most platforms have this. I think it was Kyle Westaway who asked us to build him this. But
Yeah,
as an
okay.
example, you can come in and you can, maybe you have this like really well thought out process for how you review, I don't know, MSAs. And you can have Counsel one shot them, and a prompt could be a workflow, right? Because a Counsel can edit, it can add comments, it can, do research, it can draft emails. And so a prompt could be, review this MSA, do it in a certain way, look for how I, do MSA reviews in other places, blah, 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 blah. What's missing in the example you gave is this idea of like doing this on a timer. So that's one thing. The other thing is we think of skills, we have skills in much the same way as Claude does, slightly differently executed. Where Counsel will plan, will decide to search across all the projects and context it has, or search across your documents, and execute, redlining a document in your name. So there are some overlaps. But I think one thing we've found is that, we've spent a lot of time building redlining, as have tools like Harvey, Spellbook, everyone has spent a lot of time on redlining. I think Anthropic has a little way to go on redlining. Maybe that's changed in the last, since I played around with it. But yeah.
Awesome. Rob, do you want to jump in?
Sure. Thanks for the demo, Dylan. I thought that was great. I'm gonna put in my question here. You don't have to read the whole thing, okay? It really has to
Okay.
do with confidentiality and professional responsibility. I have looked through your exhaustive security page and terms and privacy, et cetera. Wondering if you
Yeah.
could just talk about it, particularly in the lawyer's
Yeah.
professional responsibility context and sensitive client data, and in particular training and retention of the data.
Yeah. So we do absolutely no training whatsoever. The beauty of organized context, and we've thought this for a really long time, by the way, is that training models is like a waste of our time. Anthropic and others just build great models. We slot them in as soon as they come out. The real uplift we can bring is by organizing your context and loading it in at just the right time. So we don't do any training at all with confidential client data. In terms of retention, what was it you specifically wanted to know about retention?
Well, so first, I guess I'd like to understand how it can operate without training. It just seems to me that it sort of knows what the client is, knows all the personal information. It's in my email. I just need to understand how, like you say, that you don't train. I just need to understand
Yeah.
how that works.
Yeah, of course. So training, I'll try not to get too like, in the technical details of like, matrices and weights and biases and that sort of thing. But like at a high level, training is I take all of your documents and all of your emails. I take your words and I get a large language model and I force your words through the large language model enough times that I essentially get it to sound like you. That is what fine tuning and training is. I'm really abstracting here, but that's really what fine tuning and training is. The net of that, and why it's just not even like there's no one's really doing it these days. Maybe Harvey is. I don't know. The net of why we don't think there's any point doing that is that all you're doing is you're making a large language model sound a little bit more like Rob or a little bit more like Brian. You're not improving its reasoning ability. You're improving its ability to parrot, which is one, very expensive, Two, I'm pretty sure it's illegal in the US to train using confidential client data. You know, we contractually agree, you know, it's very clear in our MSA, like we don't do that. And also we just philosophically don't think it moves the performance needle. Context, as I showed to you earlier, I would think of it a lot more as like we're loading in the right documents and the right emails at just the right time. And the work we have done is to read and understand those documents and those emails and organize them in a way that we can recall later. That is the moat of our entire business. That is a thing that is very, very difficult to do that, you know, as far as I'm aware, I don't think anyone's doing. Now the beauty of that is that we don't need to do any sort of fine tuning or training. We use, you know, the models we use, I can tell you we use Opus 4.6, we use Sonnet 4.6 as a fallback if we have too much demand on our system. We use Gemini 3.0 Pro. And all of these have zero data retention agreements in place with the model providers, that is.
Thank you for your response. Thank you.
Right.
Sweet. This has been awesome. Thanks, Dylan. Love just getting your take on all this stuff and seeing what you've been building. The platform is changing a lot and has come a long way. So really cool to see.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and we do have a discount with Counsel. So if you are interested, I mean, you can reach out to Dylan and let him know you're coming from Hey Counsel, and he will honor that. But also, they're in our vendor database. So if you check them out there, and you'll see what I kind of forget now what the actual discount is, but go check it out. Maybe Dylan
we waive the setup fee. We waive the setup fee and we give you a 10% discount.
Nice. All right, cool. So yeah, reach out to Dylan. I will drop a recap with Dylan's contact information as well, and the recording of the video as well. So we'll get all that in the community. And until next time, Dylan, thanks so much for
All right.
coming on.
Thank you guys, and thank you for the questions. Appreciate it. Bye.
All right, see ya.